I think just early on, I was looking perhaps around at my peers and thinking the right thing was about moulding yourself into a particular physique to be good, as opposed to just thinking fuel well, train well, and you will evolve into the athlete that is going to be the best version of you. And it took me a little while to understand that, and if I could give any message to my younger self, it would be that. It's like, trust if you're doing the right work and you're getting what you need in from a fueling perspective, it's all going to work out. And I'm fortunate that I've got a great team around me, and my coach has always been really reinforcing the positive messages. And then, as I said, the moment I fell pregnant, something just switched where I thought, okay, it's not about me and performance, it's about looking after the baby. And I've never looked back. I've never, as I said, cared about a number on the scales. I'd have no idea what I weigh. I get asked those questions. I'm like, haven't checked in about 6 years. I don't have any interest in that now. It's like your body will do what it needs to do for you to be able to get the most out of it, as long as you're putting the work in and eating a balanced, nutritious diet. So we're heading in for the 16-week checkup, which is exciting. We'll get to see what's going on in here, and I'll have my blood pressure checked, and yeah, just make sure that everything's on track. So we're back from the appointment and it all went well. It was really nice to get a glimpse of the little girl inside. They got a photo of her with her back to us and her hands behind her head, which is really cute. I always love just getting a little update. So we're at 16 weeks now, which I feel like is a bit of a sweet spot in the pregnancy. The nausea's settled, I'm sleeping better, have my appetite back, and no more food aversions. They were really tough in the first trimester. I really love food, and there were just some that I'm used to loving that I couldn't even look at. So yeah, it's nice to have my energy, and looking forward to the next appointment in 4 weeks. I'm about to catch up with Liv Warnes, my sports dietitian who I've been working with since 2012. Today we'll just be going over my fueling for Valencia. We actually haven't caught up since the race to go through the actual amounts that I got in during the race. And then we'll have a bit of a chat about some pregnancy nutrition considerations too. I have a few questions just around iron and supplementation, so I'm really looking forward to catching up with her.
My name's Olivia Warnes. I'm the SASI dietitian. I've been fortunate to work with Jess since 2012. One of the supplements I did actually recommend for Jess during pregnancy is Elevate, which is a pregnancy multivitamin, which contains higher amounts of iron, folic acid, iodine, which they generally recommend that pregnant women take in the month leading into pregnancy and during. And interestingly, for athlete mums, it's probably really helpful to know that Elevate is actually an OSTAR supplement, which means it's actually a registered medicine, so it actually doesn't need to be batch tested. And whilst it's promoted as a pregnancy, important for pregnancy to help the development of the baby and reduce the risk of those neural tube defects, it's actually quite important. It could easily be continued during breastfeeding as well, like postpartum, because the needs for iodine are actually elevated again, because mums do lose iodine in their breast milk. So even continuing, the OSTAR Elevate during breastfeeding is probably a really smart idea for athlete mums as well.
After catching up with my sports dietitian Liv earlier this week at SASI, I'm heading into the pharmacy to pick up some Elevate, which is a pregnancy supplement. In the past, I've been nervous to take this because it's not batch tested, and I was worried it sort of didn't tick boxes from a WADA and Sport Integrity Australia perspective, but Liv did a bit of research and found out that it falls under a different category that doesn't need to be batch tested, so that's great news. A typical day for me, I always eat before I exercise. That's something since falling pregnant in 2019. I remember just waking up hungry, so I'd eat, head out for a run, and it's just never changed. If I don't eat before I exercise, I do get hungry out there. In fact, this morning I met with Sarah for our usual session and I was cutting it a bit fine, so I was still eating a piece of toast when she arrived, and I actually kept eating it while we were running. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "No, it's really important I get this in." So I don't really have any issue now with sort of eating and running straight away, which is handy. So I'll start with a bit of toast and some peanut butter and honey, come back, and that's when I have my really high energy and higher protein breakfast, usually muesli with some added protein. And then I'll have my typical sort of avocado and whatever egg on toast, and some snacks throughout the day. And then we have a really big emphasis on dinner, which again is something I grew up with. Dinner was always a big moment. The family gets together, we sit down and try to just have as many of the different sort of food groups on the plate, and if you get that good dinner in, I just feel like you're covering off a lot of your nutritional needs for the day. And then I'll typically have a snack before bed too. In pregnancy, you sometimes wake up throughout the night hungry, which is a bit unusual, I guess. Yeah, something you have to adjust to, have a little snack beside your bed, or I just run out to the fridge and grab a snack if I need it. But that was probably more in those early weeks when I was feeling nausea as well. So yeah, not as many midnight snacks at the moment. What I've learned is you do have to change your eating habits a bit throughout the pregnancy. I've always been a big meal person. I don't snack as much throughout the day. I have my 3 really big meals and a couple of snacks, but as the pregnancy progresses, there's just less room there for food. So you just have to adjust and dial back the quantity and eat more frequently. So that took a little while for me to adjust to with Billy. I remember just making myself feel really ill sometimes, just overeating, and there just isn't the space there. So it is really challenging in the first trimester when you're feeling sick and there are just so few foods that you feel like eating. Again, now that I'm past that, it's nice. I can choose what I think is the best option, not what I can just stomach at the time. Having snacks available is really important, and I've been caught out a number of times where I might be at, say, Billy's Little Athletics, and you go from 0 to 100 really quickly, so you can be feeling fine and then suddenly you're hungry, and if you don't eat soon you start to feel unwell, and if you don't have a store nearby it's tough. So just always have either some fruit, or I like to make energy balls, so it's like dates and almonds and oats, whatever I want put into these little balls, which the kids love as well. Yes, that's the biggest tip I have, always have snacks available. Yeah, look, I think when you're in pregnancy, obviously your caloric needs are high, and then when you go through that process of giving birth and in recovery, it's really important there to be organised and to have food available as well, because with breastfeeding, if that's what you're doing and just, yeah, you're awake a lot, again, you need to just have options there to fuel yourself throughout, and also to drink. Your hydration needs are higher. So I've probably gone from pregnancy into breastfeeding and just keep up a really high caloric intake throughout the day. And then when you reintroduce training into the picture as well, you need to lift that again. And that's where the support of a sports dietitian can be really helpful, just to go through what you are consuming and whether they can give you some little tips and tricks to add more in or tweak things.
I suppose the key nutrients during breastfeeding is, you know, your iron, your folic acid, your iodine, calcium, vitamin D. And I think a breakfast combination that I love, which is really high in iron but also provides calcium, is you know, your wheat bix with you know, berries to help the absorption of iron. You put the milk, the yogurt in for the calcium. Okay, there's a bit of challenge with the calcium and the iron absorption, but hey, I think, you know, the more you can get in, the better of all those nutrients. And then throw a bit of Milo on top, and that always brings a smile to a lot of women, with the extra little bit of chocolate taste on top, and that also is iron containing as well. So just another way of further boosting iron. And I think for, you know, athlete sort of mums to be, again, the recovery piece, we're using a a protein source that also contains calcium is another good way of, again, further boosting calcium needs for the day. So whether that's a milk drink, or a yogurt and those sorts of things, or integrating that into the next meal.
I grew up in Naracoorte in the state's southeast, and I'd say quality nutrition has always been a big value of mine and my family. So my mum, she's a great cook, and I think I've always looked forward to meal times, and she ran a swim school in our backyard, and I just remember she'd come up from the pool and we'd be like, "What's for dinner, Mum?" And she'd always have something amazing planned, and we also entertained a lot. I guess there weren't a lot of restaurants and places to eat out other than we'd always have a palmy at the footy club or a schnitzel at the footy club after netball and footy training. But yeah, just that celebration of food and bringing people together. My dad's a vet, mainly a big animal vet, but has a real interest in soil health and animal nutrition. And so I think he's always been just bringing that messaging in about the importance of quality ingredients. And so from a very young age, I've taken an interest in food. When I went to boarding school in year 10, I'd say probably it wasn't the healthiest time in my life, in you're just eating whatever's available to you, and it is prepared in bulk. And I sort of came out of those school years and then started to ramp up my sport, and that's where things shifted a little. Like when I was introduced to the sport in kind of 2010 of like long distance running and started taking it more seriously, started to make some Australian teams, I was observing the athletes around me, trying to learn as much as I could, and there probably wasn't as much research or information available then about fueling for performance. And what I witnessed was probably some athletes, if anything, restricting intakes. And I remember coming home from my first trip overseas, wearing sort of the green and gold, thinking I need to probably cut back on my intake to be a better athlete. And to be honest, they're probably some of the worst years of training I had. And I remember my coach, Adam, observing my times going backwards, particularly at that point I was running more shorter reps, 400s, and he probably didn't really understand what was going on behind the scenes, me trying to reduce my energy intake. And I just learnt the hard way that it wasn't the way to go about things. But once I had that mentality of you got to be lean to perform well, I found it quite hard to crack out of it. So I'd say those years between 2010 to 2015 were actually quite tough, in that I had this added mental load of not what I would consider now fueling for performance in a positive way. And it actually took falling pregnant with Billy in 2019 to shift that mindset, and suddenly I wasn't just fueling for me, it was about trying to get as many vitamins and nutrients in as possible for the growing baby. And at that point I stopped looking at numbers on the scales, and I had an increased appetite and I just rolled with it. And ever since then, I'd say I don't ever look at weight anymore, and if anything, I'm thinking about how much energy can I get in for training. And it's been really freeing, actually, just this journey of pregnancy and motherhood, and how I've completely broken any sort of what I would say would be negative mentalities towards food that I had in some of my earlier years. So it's been quite a process, but I'm really happy with where I'm at now with my mindset towards fueling for performance.